A boy's best friend is his mother.
This is the Horrible Film School. Take a seat and slowly peel open your Trapper Keepers. I am Chris, and I am here, as always, with Professor Hootie.
What's up, fellas? Excited to get loco?
Let's fucking go. We're also joined by your mother's best friend, Professor Joey, a.k.a. Dr. Nasty.
What up, y'all? Y'all ready for Halloween? How y'all doing on this chilly October night?
Feels pretty good outside. It was a cold-ass morning, but last I stuck a toe outside, it felt pretty good.
We're in that weird time of year, fellas, to where you can't get your heat on just shit, and you're cold as hell at nighttime, and you're comfortable during the day.
I just had a whole debate about, are we leaving the AC on overnight? I'm like,
It ain't running.
It can feel like shit until like 2 in the morning. Then you're going to be freezing. The pillow's going to be really cold.
Oh, not like a cold pillow.
Nothing beats a cold pillow.
Like I've had the weird thing where like your balls are like cold, so they suck up into you. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
that's really cold.
Yeah, I've had that.
You might want to cut your heat on.
Past week and a half. No, it kind of
They've
feels
been
good.
stuck in that position for 10 days. You're saying?
Yeah, I've been turtling pretty good here recently.
I think that's a medical condition, brother.
Not the worst sensation.
Could be worse, I suppose. Could be worse. Always protected from a swift kick.
Natural cup.
Yes, sir. All right, so scouring the internet these past few weeks, got some interesting tidbits for you boys here. Start with a rumor, and if this doesn't have me written all over it, I don't know what does. And again, this is probably bullshit, but you know how the internet works. Christopher Nolan's next film reportedly could be a period horror film about vampires in the 1920s. Fucking
Didn't they already
insane.
do that with fucking Interview with the Vampire?
How insane would a fucking Nolan horror movie? I can't imagine him doing one, man.
Leo DiCaprio, time-traveling vampire.
Joey, do you mean it's already been done with John Carpenter's vampires?
Was that 1920s?
Was that a period piece?
Fucking
1993 was a hell of a
James
time.
Wood out there, fucking him and
James
one of
Wood
the
was
Baldwin
so
boys.
cool.
Which Baldwin boy
Daniel?
was it?
I think it was Daniel Baldwin.
It's the forgotten one.
Yeah, that one.
Wasn't he
I
getting
thought it
his
was
dick
kinda-
sucked by a vampire or some shit in that movie?
No, he
She
was
was
like
very
going down
attractive.
on the girl, like they were biting her thigh, looked like he was eating her out.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, okay. I remember
That's one of those,
watching
like-
that as a kid.
Yeah, like a 10-year-old sexually repressed memory of, I think somebody was sucking somebody's little vagina. Yeah, one of those. I thought that was pretty cool. I can't imagine Nolan doing it. It's probably bullshit, but how awesome that'd be to get a $200 million horror movie. How rare is that?
Who would be your number one choice for like the lead vampire?
Oh, casting couch. Well, supposedly Tom Holland is officially signed on, and so is Matt Damon.
I was gonna say Chalamet.
Chalamet,
He looks like
yeah.
a fucking vampire. Like he would be.
He has that
would be perfect.
emaciated look about him.
I'm so tired of Chalamet.
We better get ready, buddy. He's Bob Dylan in that biopic
What's
coming up.
What's that
I see
movie?
a
What's
lot
the
of
horror
him
movie
soon.
he was in recently? Where like I think it was like a
Bones and
horror,
All?
Yeah, that right there.
Yeah.
I
This
wanted to
movie
watch
was-
that. I never did.
Movie was a little weird. It was Luca Guadagnino, so it had the
Luca
kind of a foreign taste about it, but it's worth a watch.
Isn't Chris Sarandon still alive? Bring him back. Just get him walking around.
He's too damn old to carry a movie. He's
What, they gonna put him on
24,
fucking
bro.
strings like a goddamn marionette puppet?
80 is the new 20, fellas, okay?
Well, I did read that they were doing some AI version of Vincent Price or someone of his ilk
Oh
for
no,
something
not
soon.
the fucking Star Wars.
So inevitably,
Star Wars
man.
Rook thing from Alien Romulus. Are they doing that?
Exactly. Inevitably, it's going to be, you're going to have Bela Lugosi in all these movies anyway, so get ready for that.
It looks so shitty, man. The technology isn't there.
Yeah, but the only way to get it there, unfortunately, is to push out the kind of shit that we're swallowing right now. That's the only way to evolve. This also is pretty cool. We just talked about the fucking Predator a few weeks back. And apparently the next installment in the Predator franchise, Predator Badlands, comes out in November of next year. Dan Trachtenberg announced he actually had already directed 2 new Predator movies. So
Whoa.
Such a dumb
they're
fucking
coming,
name.
baby. Dan
Badlands.
Trachtenberg, Badlands.
What is
It's
this,
got
like a Mad
Elle
Max
Fanning in it.
style fucking Predator?
I don't know. I guess there are more period pieces, like the Prey was, like the native one. That was a good one. I like that one.
So is this a sequel to Prey or a different timeline? Or?
I think it's a different predator on Earth during a different time. I think they're all period pieces, like building up to something. But they also said a new Alien versus Predator movie will probably happen.
We don't need it. We don't need it, fellas.
Just saying, it's out there. It's coming.
Please be a reboot. Please don't make it a third one.
What if they were able to?
Nobody cares about that continuity.
All right, nobody wants to see that movie. What if they were able to get Arnold back?
That'd be fucking awesome.
Arnold in an Alien versus Predator.
Arnold versus Alien versus Predator versus Terminator. That'd be fucking sick.
I love Schwarzenegger to death. I tried watching this new Netflix show, Fubar, and the dude is just too old.
Oh, I didn't know he was doing TV or even acting anymore.
I mean, bless him for doing the Fubar, but it's just it ain't working.
He's got
still a good-looking guy,
illegitimate child.
He's still a good-looking man. It's all right. You look like that. You look like that. People are gonna record you, man. It's just how it works. Also, thought this was pretty cool, Mister. I feel like we talk about this movie every 2 weeks because the more I hear about it, the more excited I get. But Mr. Fiennes, was it Ray Fiennes? Voldemort himself said the first 2 movies in the 28 years later trilogy have already been filmed. So, again, this is another surprise. We've made 2 of these. It's like everyone's doing the Ty West now, you know. We go off to make a movie and they come back with 2 in their pocket.
Well, shit, that's how they used to do in the 80s with all the slasher franchises.
Yeah, I mean, get everyone on set,
out on them.
Throw their shit together.
Could also call it the Peter Jackson. He recorded the 2 and 3 at the same time.
Are we talking about the Hobbit trilogy here?
No, the OG. Yes. Lord of the Rings.
He's talking about the Hobbit specifically.
I can't carry the ring, Frodo, but I can carry you.
We act like that's not one like the greatest trilogy in the history of film, man. Get out of here with that.
I actually just got done rewatching it at the gym. It's
really
good for treadmilling.
I guess it's good for walking, just to watch fucking Frodo walk for 8 hours
just to watch
straight.
Walking.
Yeah. It makes it like
damn, look at him go.
Legolas,
slow down.
Like I'm actually walking to fucking Mount Doom, you know?
Let's skip this Aragorn shit. He's too fast. We go back to them hobbits.
What do you
keep watching the beginning. Just keep watching the first hour of the movie on repeat. Also, I don't know if you guys saw this. This was fucking awesome, though. But Dark Sky, I think, is the distributor. They just got the rights to release the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's 50th anniversary edition Blu-ray. Have you fucking seen this thing? It is in the shape of a chainsaw. Like the boxing. The boxing itself is a replica.
You meant the fucking DVD. Like, how am I going to put this shit in
You pull the chainsaw open and the DVD's inside of it. Like, that's how you close it. It's fucking awesome, dude. It comes with a VHS copy of it and everything. It's badass.
How big is
it? If you're
into
physical media, then this is like, it's the same size as the one that he uses in the movie.
Damn.
I'd say it's a good, like, maybe 3 feet. Fucking awesome.
Do they have the limited edition, like Franklin in a wheelchair DVD I can get?
Sucking on that, whatever the hell he had in his mouth, that beef jerky.
Yeah, fucking human jerky.
Yeah, it was people jerky. But yeah, if you're into physical media, this has got to be one of the coolest limited. I think it's 5,000 printed maybe or something. You wouldn't even call it printed. I don't know what you call it at that point. Constructed. Yeah, I thought that was pretty fucking slick. And finally, in honor of the Halloween season, Michael Dougherty reportedly says he's very, very happy with the script for the Trick or Treat sequel.
Oh shit, let's go.
Yeah, it's long.
Another anthology?
I believe so. He's back at it. So was it like 2008 or so? Is that when that first one came out?
Fuck yeah.
It's a long time
no
ago.
one talked about that movie, dude.
Was it straight to video?
I think it was before streaming took off and before Blu-rays really took off. So I feel like I just can't imagine it on DVD, but I'm assuming that's where all his money was made, you know? It's like right there in that weird in-between time.
I think there
going
was
to
some,
Blockbuster and
I thought there was some like
Blockbuster
thing, like some tragedy that happened that kept them from putting the movie out.
Oh, is this one of those like something
it's
bad
a Donnie
happened
Darko situation?
Oh, I got you. Like a weird funding situation.
I felt like it was like I'm gonna go this shit while we continue to talk.
It's probably one of the last films I rented from Blockbuster, if I think about it.
Damn, I think everyone needs like an aggregate. What's the last physical copy you rented from a video store?
But I'd say from a video store, because I go to the library all the time, fellas.
No, that don't count. You son of a bitch. You're not paying for that. My
Get
taxes,
that physical
my
media.
taxes are paying for you to watch all this filth that you put on this podcast every 2 weeks. All these good, honest Americans and your bullshit. But anyway, while Joy's looking into that, let's get into today's assignment. Choice of your boy. So I will happily be hosting one of the Mount Rushmores of the big boys, 1960s Psycho. Some people call it the first slasher. The lesson for today. This is an important one. I think Joey really needs to take note of this one while he's staring at his computer screen here.
He ain't taking notes.
A son is a poor substitute for a lover.
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
Write
Just
it down,
remember
Joey.
that.
Get your pencils
Just
out.
remember that. Get that. I mean, get that etch-a-sketch out, whatever you use to take notes. And
He
take
is
a note of
not
that.
opened his Trapper Keeper yet.
I'm going to get that on a
Alright.
t-shirt for you.
Apparently, there was just delays due to like funding.
Just budgeting. Yeah,
Never
I figured it was
mind.
one of those things.
Disregard my assumption that
His
a
fake-ass
fucking school
Panicus
bus full
alarm
of
going off.
kids was like blown up or some crazy shit.
I'm pretty sure someone was sniping people on set. Nah, it's just money. Yeah, it was one of those weird independent projects that had like all these actors attached to it, but I think it took him like 3 years to release it or something. Is that what you're saying?
All these I guess Brian Cox was in it. So,
Yeah, Brian Cox, Anna Paquin. There was a few like people who were big at the time. And by the time it came out, they were bigger than they were at the time they made the movie, I think. All right, let's pop into this bad boy. Fan reviews from IMDb for Psycho from 1960. This is kind of a mixed bag. Interestingly enough, I pulled out positive and negative review, of course. They were both within a few months of each other in 1998. And it wasn't until after I finished my notes that I figured out why. So we'll circle back to that.
Well, I feel like with this movie, you probably should have just chose two negatives because I think this movie's like almost universally
Beloved. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough to critique this one. As I was prepping for it, I was talking about how it's hard for me to be critical of something like this, but it needs to be done. I feel like we've covered, but in my mind, the big four, we've covered two of those already, Halloween and The Exorcist. So let's chisel number 3 up on this Mount Rushmore for me. This review is titled, Look at This Movie as a Whole from December 12th, 1998. Okay, I'll agree that the shower scene is one of the scariest in movie history. Hitchcock did an amazing job with that. Unfortunately, the rest of the movie does not measure up. The scary start whimpers away into a movie of confusion that can only be described as creepy at best and dull at worst. It is a classic, but that does not mean that it is good. 2 out of 10 stars. Like I said, for modern audiences, I could see someone saying, this isn't scary, this is just creepy. But again, this is a 64-year-old movie at this point.
Yeah, that's somebody looking at it with a lens of
That was in 98.
A modern horror, like literally, if you just went and saw Terrifier 3
Yeah.
a few
yeah.
weeks back,
Oh, yeah.
like,
That'll do it.
If you can sit there, that kind of
Different
movie,
animal.
You're desensitized to any sort of horror that can come out. But yeah, as the audience in the '60s seeing this stuff for the first time ever, like a lot of this stuff was the first time you would ever see this shit on, in a theater.
Yeah, even weird shit about the movie are first in cinematic history, which you can touch on later. But again, if someone wants to complain about it being dull, I'll give you that in a way.
There's no way you can, like, every time that fucking score would pop up.
The pacing is great in my opinion, but
Like, it's the totally opposite of dull. I would just be in suspense and tense the whole fucking time.
To your point, Chris, the pacing for me, I'll talk about it when we get in the film, but there was a spot that I thought it kind of let up a little bit. But if you look at the knife play in this film, I can see where that person would say this is just not a good film, because the knife play to us is comical. But to Joey's point, in the 60s, that knife play was terrifying.
again, it's all about context with this one, and it's often credited as the first slasher. I think there may be a few, maybe foreign films before this that kind of went like bigger and bloodier, but as far as making it mainstream, kind of setting the template for Halloween, which gives us every other franchise of the 80s and early 90s. I mean, it's unfucking deniable, dude. Getting into the undeniability, let's talk about a positive review. After 38 years, it still delivers the goods. This was from September 15th of 1998 on IMDb. Alfred Hitchcock is still my favorite director, and with Psycho, he proved that a great director can make a great film for less than $1 million. The shower scene could be the greatest scene ever put down on film. Everyone puts in 100%, from Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates to Bernard Herrmann's chilling all-string score. Psycho can never be remade. 9 out of 10 stars. And I highlighted this review because, like I said earlier, I was like, what the fuck was it about 1998? Everybody wanted to talk about Psycho. The remake released December the 4th, 1998. Yes. So one of these reviews was before the movie came out. The remake came out, which said this should never be remade. The negative review was a week after the remake came out. So do with that what you will.
And I think before we hopped on the mics this evening, I told the fellas that I have probably seen the remake more than the original because it came out just in like a pivotal part of my childhood. And it was awful. And Vince Vaughn playing this character was just like, why was he cast?
So what was more terrifying? Was it Anthony Perkins chewing on that candy corn or Vince Vaughn's hairline? Which was more terrifying to a 10-year-old boy in 1990, in the late 90s?
I'll be honest, at 98, Vince still had most of his hair.
His forehead was pretty back there, though.
Yeah, I mean, his new show, Bad Monkey, it's just like, let go of the hair, man. It's like, he's got the Stephen A. Smith.
It's the look now, man.
But he just, like, in this film, Norman Bates comes off like the candy corn, and he's like, kind of, you feel bad for him in spots.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn just played like Vince Vaughn. Like, he's just goofy and
he's kind of like oafish now that I think about it. He's kind of like a big guy, right?
Yes, he's massive.
Tall and broad. Like, I feel like Anthony Perkins is just so quaint, like like an old woman, like a little old woman or something, you know?
Yeah.
Very much a Lenny from Of Mice and Men sort of situation with Vince Vaughn.
Look at the flowers. Look at the flowers, Lenny. All right, let's pop it to the crew real quick. People that made this, kind of hard to shine any more light on the guy, but this movie was directed by Sir Alfred Hitchcock, who you may know as the director of Rebecca from 1940, which won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Hitchcock is nominated for Best Director. He would also receive Oscar nominations for Lifeboat, Spellbound, Rear Window, and Psycho. His other notable films include Rope, Strangers on a Train, Dial M for Murder, To Catch a Thief, Vertigo, North by Northwest, and The Birds. Sadly, this man never won an Oscar in his entire life. Fucking insane.
Stop, pause. Joey, how many of those films have you seen?
I've seen bits and pieces of The Birds.
There we go.
Just because it has a bunch of birds in it. I thought that was crazy.
I have seen 10 of those. I just counted those. Sorry.
What's your favorite, Chris? You want to talk about it?
I like Rope a lot. Dial M for Murder is a really good one. Vertigo is considered one of the, I mean, depending on when you ask people, it's the best film of all time.
Oh, yeah. I saw...
Rear Window's great.
I guess it was a Secret Window remake.
Rear Window, motherfucker. Not this Secret Window Johnny Depp shit.
Oh, shit.
You saw Disturbia.
I heard it was Disturbia, yeah.
Exactly. Rear Window is
like
great.
The darkness and the light.
I saw that in theaters doing a re-release they do like every year during the summer. It's great. Great watch. Jimmy Stewart. Who doesn't love Jimmy Stewart, man? From back in the 50s.
He was a World War II fighter pilot. It's bad.
And he's in Vertigo, too.
I remember
Cary Grant, man.
Rear
Some
Window,
good shit in here.
when Johnny Depp had that ear of corn. He just
You talk about this fucking corn one more time.
The movie ends when he bites the ear of corn.
Do you think that's an allusion to the candy corn in this movie?
He's got braces. He's got braces in the movie, and he bites the candy in the corn.
I have no idea what that movie was about. We got to reassess it because it might be the best movie
He
in the last 30 years.
He murders his wife or some shit.
I think that's what happens.
Buries that bitch out there and puts a bunch of corn on her.
We might be making this shit up. Who knows?
I'm telling you, that's what it's about.
But I think Rebecca was his only Best Picture winner. So do with that what you will. That's a great movie too. Yeah, this is the master of suspense. Obviously, you've probably heard his name if you've ever heard of movies. Considered, I would say, universally a top 10 director in the medium across the entire world. So, tip of the cap to Mr. Alfred. He's a personality in his own right.
Yeah, he would overshadow a lot of his actors and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, he's I mean, they made movies about him making movies now. I think Anthony Hopkins played him 10 years ago, if you remember that. He's obsessed with these blonde-headed leading ladies he always casts, and
I heard that he could be quite vulgar in like a
feeling.
sexual way on set.
A little bit of a prevert, if you will.
Yeah, I think
He was born in
referred- I might be
1899.
stealing somebody's like tidbit here, but he's like, I think he referred to Anthony Perkins as masturbates the whole fucking time he was on set.
That's fucking awesome. I didn't catch that though. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Mr. Masturbates.
I did a little bit of deep dive on Hitchcock because I don't know much about the man. And I came across something that was interesting in regards to he had a deep fear of the police from like an early set childhood situation with his dad. The coppers. And it was so bad that the man never learned how to drive because if you don't drive, they can't pull you over and they
What
can't
the
ask
fuck
you
did he
questions.
do? Fly? Because I know his fat ass didn't walk.
I guess he had a personal driver. I have no idea.
He was
But-
born in
First
1899.
ever
I'm going to
segue.
repeat
He's
this
just
again.
fucking, like, rolling around.
He probably was on a horse and buggy for a good while there. 1899. That's how far back we're going right here.
Well, let's go back here, fellas. Did the police pull over a horse and buggy?
You know how fucking awkward that would be to pull someone out of the horse. All right, sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. I mean, I'm on top of the fucking buggy here. What do you want me to do? Spread your shit. Get on the ground. Spread your shit.
You tell that horse to shut up.
You get that erect horse away from that penis right now. You pointing that thing at me? Anywho, Mr. Hitchcock also produced this movie. Put a lot of his money into it. As we'll probably talk to more later. It's probably one of the greatest gambles in the early Hollywood for sure. Movie was written by Joseph Stefano, based on the book Psycho by Robert Bloch. And
This
that
guy
didn't have
was
much
played by
for their
Daniel
careers.
LaRusso from Karate Kid in the Anthony Hopkins biopic.
Oh, was he? I have no recollection of.
I don't know
Danny
the actor's
was in
name,
there?
but Danny LaRusso was the
Ralph
was
Macchio?
Ralph Macchio. It was Joseph Stefano.
I looked at Stefano's work. I saw nothing that I needed to talk about.
Yeah, nothing popped for me either. I have no other notes other than his name and the fact that apparently Daniel LaRusso.
You're welcome.
But Robert Bloch obviously wrote the novel, but he also wrote 3 episodes of the original Star Trek show, which, I mean, you know,
Ah,
Pretty
that's
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that connection. Also, there's another big shout out, probably the second most famous collaborator as far as folks behind the camera here. Music by Mr. Bernard Herrmann. You guys want me to tell you about Bernard Herrmann? What do you know about
Dude, this
Bernard?
dude is sick. I want to hear all about Bernard.
This is the fucking dude.
He is a fucking G.
Legend. Yeah, this is a top 5 composer probably all time as far as movies are concerned. Obviously, a frequent Hitchcock collaborator. His first film score, listen to this shit. This is how you bookend a career, boys. First film score was for Citizen Kane in 1941. His last was Taxi Driver in 1976.
How do you
That's
get that
fucking-
job as your first
That's bonkers,
foray
dude.
into the fucking
You're just that good, man. People can just hear it, I guess. They say when post-production on Psycho was underway, Hitchcock saw the effect of the music on the movie's terror, which he said attributed to 33% of the film's impact, and he doubled his salary after the fact. After he was done working, he paid the motherfucker double. That's
if there's
impressive.
one thing this man loves, it is strings, instruments, string
The
instruments.
strings, man. I think it's in my mind the most iconic film score of all time.
I haven't heard this many strings in a music piece since Billy Sherrill's Country Days with the Countrypolitan.
Oh yes.
The most impressive part of it for me was how it wasn't overdone. Like when it was used, yes, it was used in a manner of like to get your blood pumping, to get your fucking
Yeah.
heart rate going. But the moments it wouldn't do that, they were very, very well selected.
Yeah, I think it's like you're talking about the volume of the score is so emphasized in the movie that when there is no score, it's even more emphasis like on the silence. It's almost creepier when there is like that downtime, like you're with Norman cleaning up or whatever. You're like, this is fucking weird because it's dead silent now, you know. We just came from this complete chaos, and now we're like voyeuristic. We're like Norman watching somebody through a hole, you know. God, I love this fucking movie. That's all I got on the folks behind the camera, though. Y'all got anybody else to highlight?
Not really. I mean, I guess we can do special effects. Like somebody threw a can of paint on somebody in the shower. That was it.
Yeah, it was not a lot of.
Well, I guess
We'll get to
okay,
it.
not to put the cart before the horse, but the thing at the end of the movie was very impressive. Whoever did that.
Oh yeah, I got what you're talking about. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the production notes here. And I had to write this down, this quote, because I thought it was pretty telling for my lack of how much I can make this movie appeal to somebody. This is regarded as, quote, the most heavily analyzed film in the long career of the most investigated director in the history of American film. Which I think is to say, there's probably not a whole lot you could teach people about this fucking movie.
So we should just go ahead and stop recording.
Exactly. There's not a whole lot we can offer you here other than what we thought about it, our own personal experiences. So that's my caveat.
We can help our listeners win horror trivia at their local brew pub.
Remember this shit. Listen to this one episode on repeat before you go to any slasher trivia night. We're going to give you at least one question correct here.
They used Bosco chocolate syrup for blood.
That is a fact.
Not Hershey's.
Bosco, specifically Bosco's chocolate syrup.
Not fucking powdered Nesquik.
That would
Bosco.
be fucking dope. Just, why is powder coming off of this
Bitch is
lady?
covered in strawberry and chocolate Nesquik.
Why's Norma doing cocaine?
That's a dusty ass shower going on.
She needed that shower. She got them fucking ashy ass elbows.
Ugh. Every time she gets smacked, them elbows just flare up. Okay, Mr. Hitchcock took a pay cut in exchange for box office percentage, which worked out greatly in his favor when this movie was a hit, obviously.
I think it said
this is back in the day, man.
He made like 140 million or something like that.
Yeah, this is back in the day. Like,
60% of the gross instead of being paid outright.
They didn't do this back in the day. Everything was studio. You got to think about how studio-focused Hollywood was back then.
It was Paramount, right?
See, Paramount made the movie. Universal distributed the movie. So you still see the Paramount logo at the beginning, but this is a Universal movie. The house is on the Universal lot.
They were convinced this was going to be a flop.
Yeah. They pretty much were like, we'll let you make it, but we want to sell it to somebody else.
Well, I think their whole thing was they had him for like one more movie, like under his current contract, and they didn't want this to be that final movie. So I think that's why Universal was allowed to distribute it. I
don't know his discography as well as obviously Chris does, but it seems like the films that he made after Psycho, which weren't a lot to be honest, weren't as successful as his previous work.
Yeah, he's still considered close to his peak at this time, though. I think it's kind of what was it? The year before this, you had North by Northwest with Cary Grant. That was 1 year before this. Like, that's pretty fucking high. Like, he was not coming down at this point. I don't understand what they were thinking. And then The Birds was in 63, so that was 3 years later.
Okay. North by Northwest seems much older than this film.
Exactly, yeah. But he was definitely at the peak of his powers here, so they fucked up. It's their loss. Hitch made the right choice here, banking on himself. And he anonymously bought the film rights to the novel. Thought that was pretty fucking OG himself. He bought as many copies of the books as he could to find an extreme effort to hide the ending from moviegoers. He really believed in the story.
He apparently bought it for $9,000, which I'm assuming 1960 was pretty substantial.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, though. Like, he just goes out and options it himself anonymously, which I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I read. Bet Robert Bloch's like, fuck, Hitchcock bought this, sold this shit for a cool meal. But again, that kind of attributes to the fact that this movie cost less than $1 million to make.
Is that the reason he filmed it in black and white, or is that just part of it? Just because it'd be cheaper?
Nah, I read up on that too. Apparently, it was just the aesthetic he wanted. He just wanted to see if he could shoot something in black and white on like a smaller scale, and that's kind of what led that decision making. Because he actually used his TV crew from Alfred Hitchcock Presents to make this movie. He didn't even bring in like Hollywood level talent behind the cameras. It was just the people who did TV episodes for Alfred Hitchcock Presents. This movie should have never worked like it did. This was pretty cool. The theatrical screenings were guarded to disallow anyone trying to enter after the film begins when it first came out.
Yeah, he would, like, literally the releases, the way the movie was released, it helped create the mandatory seating times like in the cinemas today. This is the first time ever that it was instituted that, hey, you got to be here at X time. If you're not here at X time, you have to come to the next viewing. You can't come in the middle. Because back then, like, they would run shows and movies all day, like in one theater, and you can just come in and out.
Like Theater 4 is in game
whim.
for 24 hours straight or whatever.
Yeah.
Could you imagine walking into Endgame halfway through and then staying to watch
shit.
the first half?
Oh, fuck. What's Spider-Man doing? He does not look happy.
This motherfucker says he's inevitable, dog. What the fuck is he talking about?
Or you just happen to get there a little bit early before your buddies and you see the end. God damn it.
Imagine getting there as soon as they do the girl power moment. Where all the fucking ladies come together.
Yeah, that's all you need to see. Then you're
So
done. The rest of the
it.
movie's incomplete. And we talked about the Universal versus Paramount situation. The Bates Motel is still on the Universal lot to this day. That's staying power, baby.
And that's on purpose too, because I mean it's the 60s. It's been a long time, which means they are preserving that house.
But it's probably like a huge tourist thing.
Oh, fuck yeah. It's definitely like what you want to see if
That'd
you
be
go
massive.
there. And my final note here before I see if you boys got anything to contribute. Leslie Nielsen was considered for the role of Sam Loomis.
The Naked Gun guy?
The Naked Gun guy.
Well, you know
apparently he
what's
was a
wild?
serious actor back in the day.
This John Gavin guy who got the role, apparently he was like a fucking Paramount
God, I love this
stan.
dude in this movie, dude.
This dude was ass cheeks.
He is awesome
It
in
was
this
the
fucking
worst
movie.
part of the fucking movie.
I know, but he's still fucking good. That's what's crazy about it.
He was a good looking dude.
I know who would
Damn, I ain't
appreciate
trying to
that
fuck him and
swab look.
suck him. I was talking about him as an
Well, I ain't either. I'm just
I love like his delivery. He's such like a 50s guy in this movie. I just love it. $40,000. I love the way he says
He
that.
just felt so like he was just so rigid, you know?
He was a man's man, Joey. What the fuck did you want?
He owned a
Norman?
hardware store.
Oh, the hardware
He just
store was
worked
just
there. He
banging
owned
hot
that
ladies
fucking
on the
store.
side.
Yeah,
He was just banging chicks left and right, Joey.
paying alimony like a fucking cook.
Looking
Check
like
out my
Clark
hammer,
Kent.
girl.
Damn. I can't believe you're shitting on Gavin. I like that dude.
Fuck that guy.
But yeah, last thing I'll touch on. Sorry, I said I would last, but the box office was $50 million versus that very specific $806,947 budget. Down to the fucking dollar.
It's quite
This house.
specific, though.
806,947. $800,000 for this movie.
Is that
It's over 50
is
times
that,
return.
Is that number
Adjusted for inflation? No, I don't think so.
inflation? Okay, that was 800,000 back then.
A couple of million, probably, I would say.
And you know what, fellas? It still does not hit the level of Paranormal Activity.
Oh, yeah, that movie was like 10K, wasn't it?
It was
In like-
wildly
In
successful.
like 2014.
I mean, for a movie that's in black and white, when films were like on the way out, like the appeal of black and white just wasn't there when everything's like in Technicolor and vibrant.
Yeah, I mean, look at North by Northwest the year before this. That movie is known for being like incredibly vivid. Always think about Carrie running through the cornfield with the crop sweeper behind him, you know?
That and the way this movie was like presented as well. Like the trailers had no real footage of the movie. Like the trailers, I think I read that it
was all Hitchcock.
literally had like a 7-minute tour of the set, and he would just talk about it and elaborate on it. And I guess him being who he is really hyped the movie up.
Come
just
see my
impressive.
new movie. I can't do a Hitchcock.
That was bad.
Joy, can you do a Hitchcock?
I'm glad you stopped.
Fuck no, I didn't listen to that motherfucker.
But his whole spiel is like, I'm fucking Hitchcock. Come see my movie. You can't, like, as great as somebody like Nolan is today, you can't see them advertising their own movie like that on television, you know?
Who's the
You guys got
modern?
anything
Who's the
else?
modern Hitchcock? Like who's closest to that in
Ooh.
terms of like notoriety?
You asking for my opinion here, or like public?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's like a objective thing that like.
And
this-
for
this
me
is the
personally, the
person.
closest director I would match him to would be like a David Fincher. As far as like the master of suspense, he's
What
a
the
very
fuck has he been
voyeuristic
directing?
filmmaker too.
Twin
What is
Peaks was
David
30
Fincher
years ago.
directed? That's David Lynch.
Oh,
David
David
Fincher.
Fincher did Aliens 3, didn't he?
That was his first movie. He gave me a
Here we
break.
go.
He did
Well,
seven.
that should have been his last fucking movie, Chris.
He did 7. He did Zodiac. He did Mindhunter. Fucking fantastic series.
God, I
on
love
Netflix.
That is
Mindhunter.
great.
So good.
Supposedly he's working to create a Squid Game TV series for Netflix now.
Oh
I
shit!
did
Season
read that
2
the
is
other
on
day.
its way. When is that?
But
shit
it's,
out?
I guess, I don't know if it's an American version or what he's doing, but he's
I
somehow
hope it's
getting
not
attached to it.
Americanized.
If anybody's gonna fucking do it,
Are you
David
talking like a
Fincher,
real
that's-
life Squid Game?
No, like an American
I thought he was about to host the shit where people
take
die.
on it. Oh, heck, that'd be fucking pretty wild too. Anywho,
I hope
That's
they
some
don't
fucking Hunger
Americanize
Games
it.
type
Please
shit. I
don't.
want to watch that.
the master of suspense, Alfred Hitchcock. You guys got anything else to share about the BTS, if you will, behind the scenes?
No, you guys kind of hit a lot of the points that I got listed here.
And again, like I tried to illuminate, this movie's been analyzed to death. So
I've got nothing left that you haven't said or the people haven't already heard.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
sure we all
that's a
have some
fact.
stuff we can spice up the actual
how about this?
story beats.
If one of us can uncover an unknown fact about Psycho in 2024, we deserve some kind of a prize. What are we gonna? We have to get something for each other if somebody can come up with an unknown fact here.
Well, how would you know it's an unknown fact?
What the fuck are we talking about?
If you can shed some new light on Psycho in this episode, I will buy.
They're all unknown to Joy.
I will buy you the
Yeah,
fattest
I mean-
hot dog I could find at a cookout with all the bacon and cheese on it.
You want to get a fucking? Why don't you go get some fucking
Hootie's like,
steak
"Oh,
salad? Why don't you get some
I do
steak
love a
salad
good
burger,
dog
you
now."
fucking
Hootie's like,
weirdo?
I'm gonna build a fucking time machine and go back to 1960.
Could I get a steak salad?
Give me that steak salad burger.
Fucking large fry.
Whopper.
What
and
comes on
onions.
Frank's hot dog?
Frank does. That's right. What comes on this? Oh, that'd be Frank, sir. All right, that's all we got, boys. Let's get into the Bates Motel. Sign this registry and begin our journey.
It's not as if she were a maniac, a raving thing. She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
In a Phoenix hotel room on a Friday afternoon, Marion Crane, played by Miss Janet Leigh, and her lover Sam Loomis, played by Mr. John Gavin, end another lunch hour meeting with unresolved plans about marriage. Upon returning to her job as a secretary at a real estate office, Marion witnesses a client named Cassidy buy a house with $40,000 in cash. When her boss asks her to deposit the money at the bank, Marion, claiming a headache, leaves with the money instead. As I said, Marion Crane is played by Miss Janet Leigh, who you may know from Orson Welles' Touch of Evil, 1958, The Fog from 1980, or more specifically, alongside her daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis, in 1998's Halloween H2O, 20 years
Underwater.
later. Under fucking water.
Dude, Cassidy has like one of the coldest fucking lines right here. I don't know if
Cassidy
you
is a
guys-
damn dog, bro.
Cassidy is a fucking beast. Cassidy is like your typical
He's ready to
Texas
fuck right there on the
Texas
desk.
oil man who's got like that, you know. He's got that under the table money type shit, and
Yeah, girl.
he's literally paying for this house $40,000 cash money, not accounted for by the IRS. And they talk
Fuck.
the girl. There's another secretary there played by Patricia Hitchcock. Her name's Caroline, Nepo baby.
Nepo baby. Well, she was in a lot of her dad's movies.
Nepo
so.
baby.
Pat Hitchcock, that's Alfred's daughter. She plays the other secretary at the office.
But he whips out this big stack of cash, and she goes, "I declare, this motherfucker cold blooded says I don't. That's how I get to keep it."
And he
Talking about declaring the fucking money to the fucking IRS.
Fuck
Boy,
you,
that
Uncle
shit
Sam.
was so fucking cold.
Yeah, dude's he's a G. Just big dick. His dick is dragging as he walks through that scene. If you look close enough,
Dude,
it is
I love
on the
that.
ground.
Back to Janet Leigh, though. I had a couple notes on this lady.
She's fine. She's hot.
Not as hot as her daughter, but that was worth a say.
What?
That'd be a hell of a hootie sandwich here.
Have you
That's a
ever seen
hot
True
take.
Lies?
Have you ever seen her
Yeah,
face?
True Lies is a tough one.
True Lies is it, man.
Go
all
on
day.
YouTube and look
Crazy,
up True
man.
Lies.
Janet
Look
Leigh
up
looks
True
way
Lies
better
dancing
than
scene.
fucking. I don't give a shit about how big her titties are. Janet Leigh looks
just
way
watch the
better than
scene,
Jamie
bro.
Lee Curtis. You are crazy.
I think these are
Anyway.
both attractive women.
Difference
I'm
of
just gonna say
opinion. Mrs. Janet Leigh gave birth to her second child at 31, a daughter named Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie's father was her third ex-husband, Tony Curtis.
that. Tony, big Tony. You guys ever seen Spartacus?
I have not.
You talking about the
Crickets.
one on fucking
Crickets.
Showtime? It shows all these dicks.
Fuck no, I'm talking about Stanley Kubrick's
All that
Spartacus
show is people's fucking balls.
from 1960.
So they based the show on the movie.
Probably. I think it's like an old Roman
I
folk
guess
tale.
it's like,
Anyway.
it's like an old Roman tale. Yeah, you're right.
It's funny you say Spartacus because Sam Loomis, played by John Gavin, was in Spartacus.
Yeah, John Gavin, president of the Screen Actors Guild from 1971 to 73, and the United States ambassador to Mexico from 1981 to 1986. I'm just reading what it says about the man. Was in Spartacus and Psycho. That's nuts, right?
He was
He became
also
like
in
a
a movie.
legit politician after all this.
I could see it. He was also one of the movies I think Joey probably loves, and that is Pussycat, I Love You in 1970.
No, that would be. I need to watch that one.
I think Joey uses that as his alarm on his phone every morning. You just wake up to some
Pussycat,
Pussycat.
I love you. Nobody else. Hoo-hoo. So the movie opens up literally like spitting in the face of the FCC, right?
Oh, you're
Like,
talking about zooming in.
you got this
on her in
unmarried
the bra.
couple. She's in a fucking bra. Both of those are like frowned upon.
Yeah, and they're laying in a
to
bed
have
together
this,
too.
like actually on the screen.
They hate having people lay in bed together back in the day.
Yeah. So this movie's already it's literally pushing boundaries in the way it opens.
And the score is banging from the word
Hitchcock
go.
got the big nuts, boy. He got the.
You talking about the score, like from the word go, the damn score, like over the credits, it's just fucking.
Oh,
it's
you
so
talking about
awesome,
the
dude.
like the tearing graphics or whatever?
Yeah,
Like it open, yeah.
That split
that
psyche.
opening credits reel is like it does such a good job at setting the tone like right away.
Was there a little sexual innuendo when Sam goes,
I'll
"You'll
lick the
your stamps," and then
Yeah.
she goes, "Oh,
Oh
I'll
my
lick your
God.
stamps."
Motherfucker said
I'll
right
lick
here, I'll
the
lick the stamps.
stamps.
Is that code for her being willing to eat out the ex-wife's pussy? Like, what are we talking about here?
she might eat out his butthole, man. She loves some Sam.
She
dog.
is she
I was like-
she wants to be with Sam bad.
I don't blame
She
him,
got
man. I
it
love the way he
bad.
talks. He's a good looking man. But yeah,
I had
Sam
to pause
Loomis.
that and back it up. I was like, "That mean what I think it meant?"
She says it quick. I'll lick them stamps.
And again, this is a shout out to our previous episode, but you may know of another famous Loomis in the history of the horror community.
Billy Loomis?
Never heard of him.
You've heard of Billy Loomis. Is he the only one you know of? Ever heard of a character named Dr. Loomis?
Oh yeah, that's that guy from Inspector Gadget.
Yeah,
And
Dr.
here we
Loomis
are.
tributes back to Psycho.
When you're at your local brew pub for a hard trivia and they say name the 3 famous Loomises, boom.
Boom, boom, and boom. I forget Billy's mom's name. Damn it. Aunt Jackie. Shit. She's
I'm
a
sure
Loomis
she's
too,
not
I
on the
guess.
test.
Spaghetti
Sam
sauce,
Loomis.
just
There's
like
your-
Mom used to make. Isn't that what does he say?
He says ketchup.
Oh,
Just like
ketchup.
Mom used to using the spaghetti sauce.
That's what he said. Yeah.
That was in Scary Movie.
Okay.
Anyway. But yeah, the push into the window is great. You got the long shot where it pushes in, the camera goes in through the window.
Oh, the cinematography in this movie is
beautiful.
like it's gorgeous.
You can see some of the crevices, like compared to what we see now, where everything's so digital. You can't really see the seams over the cuts and stuff. But I just love the camera in this movie. It's fantastic.
See, I'm going into the movie thinking it's gonna look like shit because I hear 1960 black and white.
Yeah, exactly. I knew you would come into it with that bullshit attitude, and that's why I wanted to force it down your throat.
But then I watched it. They had like a 4K
Oh, yeah, I watched it
Stream.
in 4K.
that was like 1.6, 1.7 gigs, and my internet could handle it. So yeah, that shit looked
Tight.
great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Super
Shot
clean,
on
super
film.
clean lines.
You can tell it's shot on real film. That's why that image holds up so well.
Are you saying that digital doesn't hold up?
Give it 20 years. Anything shot in digital today is not going to look as good as it does today.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, nothing beats that photo image, man. Not yet, anyway. What else was I going to point out? Oh, I was going to say, Sam's got this lady gooning, dog. I feel like she's going back to work with her hand in her panties the whole time, you know.
No, she's the one trying to get the fuck out of there. She's over this fucking guy.
Nah, dog.
She's
She
over
was
his
flicking that
bullshit.
bean at work. That's why she got the headache. She wanted to go home and rub one out. We've all been there. When you get that, just got to get it out of me. She was gooning, bro.
I feel like she would have been turned off by how close the oil tycoon dude was to her
Cassidy.
face. Cassidy.
Yeah. He's got that old man at the diner energy where he's like, "Oh, look, can I get a
Oh,
hug,
he
young
was trying
lady?"
he was trying to smash. He was trying to get her ass out to Vegas.
You know his
Smash
breath smelled like
dash.
a pack of cigarettes.
Oh, yeah. Also wanted to point out her bra color here. This is something that I picked up on in this rewatch because I was doing research. But if we notice at the beginning of the movie, we get very close attention to her brassiere, and it is white. Correct?
Yes.
That'll come back around again later. Driving out of town, Marion's boss spots her at an intersection, causing a rush of anxiety. She drives through the night towards Fairvale, California, where Sam lives, constantly checking for pursuit. After sleeping in her car, she's awakened by a suspicious highway patrolman who follows her. Worried about being tracked, Marion trades her car for a different one at a used car lot, while that same patrolman watches from across the street.
Have we talked about at this point how she's taking that $40K she's supposed to be depositing and just literally keeping it?
Yeah, she just casually kind of keeps it on her person.
Whole
Did you get the
reason is-
indication that she was trying to steal it at this point?
Oh
before
yeah,
she
yeah,
takes
yeah,
off?
100%. Because every time something happens in terms of her boss seeing her, or she gets pulled over by the police while she's pulled to the side of the road, she has episodes where you can feel or see through her eyes and listen to like conversations she's having within her own mind about how she's guilty and she feels guilty, and people are talking about her in a negative light, like, okay, she's gone and the money's gone as well, why isn't this shit at the bank? But
yeah, that's a good point, because she's actually hearing full-on conversations between
I
two
thought
other
she was like
people
schizophrenic
that
at
aren't
first.
her. That's a
Yeah.
good point. I didn't put that together till now.
Yeah, I
but
thought
those
she was,
those
like,
are imaginary
schizophrenic.
conversations that she has not heard happen.
Mhm.
She's assuming they're happening in the world, but she
Yeah.
hasn't actually seen them. So, in a way, I guess this kind of ties into the whole what we'll see, like the Bates situation too.
Yeah, their situation is definitely parallel.
You might even say we all go a little mad sometimes.
Ooh.
How about that? And the mirrors. I love the mirrors. Hitchcock uses a lot of mirrors in this movie, which gives you the whole double psyche. Like, he specifically shoots her in that bathroom. It's like through the mirror where you see her getting the cash out when she's at the car lot. The mirrors in this movie were on point.
Can we talk about the used car dealer?
Oh,
I think it's what it's
California
called. It's the
Charlie.
car
talking
dealer.
about California Charlie.
California Charlie.
That dude was fantastic.
This motherfucker
Loved him,
says
man.
right
Great
away,
fucking voice.
I'm in no mood for trouble. They say the first customer of the day is always trouble, so I'm gonna treat you so good there won't have to be any.
I love it, man. It's so charming. I would buy anything from that guy.
If she wasn't trying to fuck Sam, she'd probably be trying to fuck California Charlie.
Even the cop is like kind of charming in a way. I feel like every actor in those movies just, it kind of makes me saddened with a lot of like stuff that we see, you know, how good acting can really be when these people are like legitimate actors.
And California Charlie shares the real name of the country legend John Anderson.
Classic fucking Johnny. That Seminole Wind shout out, you want to go with it?
Seminole win right there.
Blow,
Seminole
ho, Seminole Wind. But yeah, so Marion like dodges through all these, like, it's always men that she feels like she have eyes on her. It's kind of like her whole thing, I think, through the entirety of the movie. It's like everyone wants something from her, has some expectations of her. And that's the only reason she's leaving town, I guess, is to be with Sam. Love makes you do crazy shit, I reckon.
I mean, she's just acting in a peculiar way, you know.
Well, she's about to drop $700 cash on a car.
Yeah.
Like, people can't help but like be curious because she puts herself in a curious situation.
Yeah, but you don't get the impression watching the movie, and this might just be a product of me watching so many movies over the years, that there's like a male gaze that's there.
I mean,
Like,
when someone's
Hitchcock is
sleeping
obviously
on
in
the side of the
voyeurism.
road, I think all of it's justified. Let's start off the boss seeing her driving out of town as he sent her home for the day, and she talks
Like,
about,
double
"I'm
takes her.
sick. I'm sick. I'm going home and be in bed." But the first thing he did when he leaves work, he sees her pulling off, and then you got her sleeping on the side of a highway, not even a highway, but on the side of the road in a car by herself as a woman. And then you have her driving into a fucking car dealership, refusing to test drive a car, and willingly giving $700 on top of her car with no negotiation to get another car with a different license plate.
And didn't even Charlie say at one point, like, being a woman, I know you'll, like, want to argue or some shit. Wasn't that, like, a line he threw out there?
Well,
being a woman, of course you will.
She was talking about how she was in a hurry and stuff. Up until it come to, like, the money, and then all of a sudden she wasn't in a hurry.
I got
She's
that
in a
cash,
hurry.
Daddy.
Yeah.
She's in a hurry to get things done. She rushes and rushes, and life's no fun.
Oh, my God. All I really got to do is...
Live and die. That's it.
I'm in a hurry, and I don't know why. Just throw that out there. But I'm just saying, every time we see a man engage her, I feel like Hitchcock shows us, like, this, the way they look at her for an extended amount of time. Like, is she a crazy woman, or are all these dudes making her fucking crazy?
Oh, are you saying, is it in her mind that these looks are overlong?
Yeah, like, is this us getting in her head? Like, when she pulls off from the car lot, there's 3 grown-ass men not saying a word to each other, all just fucking watching her move through the lot. It's weird.
I bet you if it's Jamie Lee Curtis, they wouldn't be looking at her.
Damn right.
They gotta get on YouTube and get on that True Lies. Who do you tell? Who do you
Got
put
to.
the link? We'll put the link in the chat that no one else can access but us.
Go ahead and watch the whole movie. It's only an hour and a half.
There you go. You get more Arnold Schwarzenegger. What else could you ask for? During a rainstorm that night, Marion stops at the isolated Bates Motel. Norman Bates, that's an iconic name if there ever was one, played by Mr. Anthony Perkins, the shy proprietor, tells her she's the first guest in weeks since the new highway bypassed them. He lives in a large house behind the motel with his mother and offers to share his supper with Marion. While she's unpacking and wrapping the stolen money in newspaper, Marion overhears a heated argument between Norman and his mother, who berates him for entertaining a woman. And again, Norman Bates is played by Anthony Perkins, who you may know as Anthony fucking Perkins, the director of Psycho 3. This fucking blew my mind finding this out.
Who you may know as Andrew Garfield's dad.
Oh, he does kind of look... Damn, man, if they ever do an
Just
Anthony
like
Perkins
fucking
biopic,
Andrew Garfield.
I love Andrew Garfield.
Still
Get him
think
in
anyone
there.
wants that.
Get him in there. Anthony Perkins died from AIDS in 1992. He was the father of Oz Perkins, director of Long Legs, and I think it's the Black Coat's daughter. So there's still some reverberations throughout the horror community thanks to Mr. Perkins.
What do we think about Norman right here? Like his mannerisms?
He's sweet and creepy, and I think he's the template for every character that we've seen like this ever since.
Yeah, I would say that first, the desk scene, I could empathize with his situation of being like, clearly there was a highway, a new highway was developed. This became a rundown motel. And now he's just trying to keep it afloat.
Just trying to get by. So this is about the small businessman, Joy. You should appreciate Norman Bates.
Oh,
He's
no,
standing up for the small
I think
businessman.
he's fantastic.
Yeah, I love.
And I think
Anthony
his
Perkins in
mannerisms
this.
are entirely justified being pretty much under the thumb of an overbearing mother. Like the guy is actually, he's charming, he's nice,
He's well spoken,
socially awkward, very socially awkward. And you can tell he loves his mom, maybe a little bit too much.
Yeah, when we think about like the stereotypical incel, this guy's pretty much it. You know.
No, hell no, he's not an incel at all.
I'm talking
This
about for
motherfucker's
like
trying
at
to
this
smash
time.
right away.
But he can't do it, man. Anyway,
Yeah,
he'll
he
find
tries
out
to.
why he can't do it.
His mama says, "Hell no."
We'll get to it.
Don't send that.
We'll get there.
hussy up
Vince
here.
Vaughn could have, but I don't know about Anthony
He's trying to
Perkins.
smash.
I found 3 very weird notes about this dude. For some reason, did a deep dive on Anthony Perkins without realizing it. He was in a movie called Destroyer, where the tagline was 3,000 volts couldn't kill him. It just gave him a buzz.
Damn. Did you say destroyer or destroy her?
Destroyer.
Okay, I was making sure it wasn't a porno. Go ahead.
Apparently, it's about a guy who gets electrocuted in prison and doesn't die and kills everybody. So.
Yeah, isn't that Ernest? Ernest goes to prison.
It's done a lot.
He gets like powers and shit.
Was he get the fucking Palpatines? He's
Yeah, he
just
gets
fucking walking
electric.
around fucking zapping
Remember
people.
that shit? Damn it, Jim Varney's just living through this
No,
podcast.
that was his like evil nemesis.
Oh, like his twin?
Yeah,
Was it a
his evil twin is the one that got the
God.
powers.
Why
That's
am I remembering
He was
this?
the janitor. He was the janitor, and the other guy was like the actual like convict.
There's so much helpful and meaningful shit we should be remembering, but it's fucking Ernest.
No, I'd
Get
much
that
rather
part
like,
of your brain. It's just
remember
Ernest.
Get out of there, Ernest. Get out of there.
Mr. Perkins didn't have sex with a woman until it. Well, maybe it's clear on the woman there.
What the
until
fuck
he was
kinda
39 years old.
Good God.
Damn.
He lost his virginity, as People Magazine worded it, to Victoria Principal in 1971.
Wait a second. You're telling me he was a virgin when he made this movie? According
Yes.
to People Magazine.
According to People Magazine.
I think that's
Not an
fucking
incel, Joy?
bullshit.
I think his sexuality obviously was repressed and hidden throughout most of his life because back in the day, it was a different world. He went through conversion therapy. I think I read that at some point. They're trying to, they do that whole pray the gay away thing that they used to do back in the day.
Well, now I
Dude's
feel
sexuality
bad.
is obviously like in a weird situation.
You ever heard
And
talking
has-
about how like gay is? I'm looking over here at this fucking picture I got on my computer. It's him doing the face at the end of the movie right at me. It's very
I love that.
unsettling.
You're talking about he's beautiful. He's a good looking dude. Andrew
He
Garfield's
is
a beautiful
great-looking
man.
dude. Yeah, he's a good looking guy.
Nothing wrong with
And
him
my-
and his sexuality.
My final note is a sad one, so I do apologize. On September 11th, 2001, his widow and mother of his two sons, Barry Berenson, was one of the 58 victims that died on AA-11 out of Boston that the terrorist hijacked.
Holy shit.
Oh, shit, they were
That's
on the
nuts,
plane?
dude.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
That's pretty nuts. I listened to an Oz Perkins interview when Longlegs was circulating a few months back, and he kind of alluded to the fact about like the idea. Have you seen Longlegs yet, Hootie?
Daddy!
I watched it last week, actually.
Unmake me from this hell of eternity.
But obviously, it's about parents and parenting and like what parents will do to protect their kids and how relationships work there. So definitely there's a lot of meat on that bone if you want to go digging.
Oh,
You can go to the
looks
kitchen.
like I have on
but you
my
ain't gonna come
long
back from the
legs
kitchen.
today.
He said, I'll come back. You're not going back. To it.
That was awesome.
Wasn't that the dude from Set It Off?
Yes, it was.
He put the gold chain down the crack of her ass. Something like that.
God
And
almighty.
set it off. Didn't that happen? Maybe I'm making that
Scene
shit
he
up.
was in is
I
probably
remember
not
Set
one
It
you
Off
need to
that
bring
much.
up, to be honest with you. His
Set It
scene-
Off
his
has been
scene's kinda
unproportionately referenced in this fucking podcast.
fucked up. We gonna set it off. All right, Queen.
We're about to set this shit off.
I wonder how many in the horror community have even heard of the film Set It Off.
It's fucking mandatory viewing if you were 8 years old in 1996. I don't know why my mom had that shit on. All right, back on the rails here. In the motel office parlor, surrounded by Norman's taxidermy birds, they discuss being trapped by circumstances. Norman's relationship with his controlling mother makes Marion reconsider her own hasty crime. She decides to return to Phoenix and return the money. And after she returns to her room, Norman watches her through a peephole, then hurries to the house. I got one question about this segment here. Sandwiches and milk? What the fuck kind of a dinner is this?
Well, here's the thing, dude. When Sam was like smashing in the hotel room,
Raw dog, I
fucking
remember that.
"You never did eat your lunch, did you?" And it just shows a picture of a bologna sandwich with tap water. This bougie ass bitch is not touching that. And then now this guy's offering a fucking ham sandwich with milk.
Whole milk. You
If
know
it
it's
ain't
whole
peanut
milk.
butter and jelly, it better not have no milk with it.
Yeah, I don't know about milk with my sandwich.
Peanut butter and
I
jelly
guess-
and milk is really good.
Do you dip
put
it?
that on
When
bread.
it's,
No,
Oh,
you
maybe I'll
just
dip
break it.
do you
Fucking
mix
idiot.
it?
What kind of stupid
Wait.
shit?
I got a move that I do
Oreo
with Oreos,
sandwich?
though. I don't know. I got a move that I do with Oreos because I got tired of getting my fingers wet, right? Dipping them in the damn milk. So
God, here we go.
I'll take the bite of the Oreo, get the milk in there, give it a little
Swish
swish.
it? Remember what I used to do
You
with the
mouthwash
talked
with milk?
about we talked about
Pretty
my
much.
Oreo. Remember when I used to do Oreos and milk?
He used to just he'd get like 8 Oreos and crumble them up in the milk and just leave them in there till they get soggy and nasty.
he'd be like
Eat 'em
a
with
poor
eat 'em
man's
with a
milkshake.
fucking spoon, bro.
Poor little fat boy's milkshake back in 1995.
We called it the fucking diabetic cocktail. I'm fucking
You know you got the
sitting
Food Line brand
there
Oreos
sucking
too. We
that.
didn't get the name brand, not the Nabisco.
I think we talked
You
about it before.
got them, what do they call it, chocolate sandwiches or some
Chocolate
shit?
creams or some shit.
There you go.
Oh God, horror stories. Yeah, sandwiches and milk. Here's some great dialogue here too. This is so we kind of get to the crux of what this movie's really about. the birds. It's obviously an allusion kind of to how he feels about his mother. She's harmless, like one of those stuffed birds. Being trapped in our cages, all that good stuff.
This is about the time where I referenced earlier. The pacing slows. I did not enjoy this scene.
I knew this was going to be it for you. I was like, this is a lot of setup right here. Who's going to be like?
You didn't enjoy the dialogue between those two in the parlor?
I don't know what it was, man. It just wasn't my thing.
I thought that was a really good example of them showing the parallels between their situation.
It's too highbrow for my redneck ass.
Yeah, it's definitely like an intellectual debate in a way. The whole "we all go a little mad" sometimes setup is here too.
I don't think that deep, fellas.
I think it was good in the sense that it did show
you. Pull the titties out or what?
It showed you.
We're gonna do this thing or not.
It showed you there was
you
something
gonna kiss
behind,
me or not?
There was something sinister behind Norman Bates's like nice guy, sweet persona. You know?
Yeah, he lost a little bit of his cool here when she got kind of.
We talk about putting his mom in a nursing home or whatever, or institution.
Everyone likes to click their thick tongues. I've seen this movie way too many times.
I think it's whenever somebody starts talking about their love and infatuation with taxidermy, I just start.
I think that's kind of the point, though, right?
It is the point to go to sleep.
Like
he's showing you how harmless he is. Only to fuck your shit up. All right, you boys ready to get into the big boy here? Marion calculates her repayment figures, tears up the paper, and takes a fateful shower. A shadowy female.
Shoulders up. No
shoulders
titties,
up, no nips. You don't even really see any cleavage, to be honest.
But it's a side boob for like one scene.
A shadowy female figure, enters and repeatedly stabs her. Marion dies reaching for the shower curtain, her blood swirling down the drain. This is what may be forever known as the shower scene.
Yeah, possibly the most famous shower scene in the history of cinema, honestly.
Oh, no doubts. No doubts.
Even me not seeing the movie up until this point, like ever, in its entirety, I might have saw like a little bit of it here and there, but that scene is like, anytime you go to talk about any sort of memorable horror compilations, that's always in there.
So you'd seen like her face screaming before?
The scream is like iconic. What really was haunting about this scene is after the deed's done and she's slumped over the side of the tub.
Yeah.
And the camera
is
on her eye and it like pulls back. That shit it just goes to show what kind of eye the cinematographer and Hitchcock has for the camera.
Yeah, because we see the swirl down the drain. The camera goes into the drain, then pulls out of the eye, and it does that pivot while it's pulling out.
I think the cinematographer like freehanded that shit, like all like the zoom effects and stuff.
It's very impressive. The camera work in this is pivotal for all the cool shit we got now.
We gonna talk about the toilet.
The toilet flush. I got that written down too. It's the first movie in history to depict a flushing toilet on screen.
What?
This is the first movie in history to show a toilet. Isn't that fucking insane?
It was always, I'm telling you, dude. It was always considered like indelicate.
It's taboo.
That kind of stuff.
No one wants to see that. No one wants to see two unmarried people laying in the bed together. They don't want to hear toilets flushing. They don't want to see toilets flushing.
Man, Hitchcock life was weird in the 60s.
I know,
but
dude,
the way
the
way it was used was valid. It's not like they just tossed this in here to toss it in here. It made sense for the plot. And we'll see a little bit later.
Intentional too.
Yeah.
Hitchcock apparently said, "We want to do a flushing toilet. They don't want us to do it." So he made the screenwriter go in and make sure that she was writing down it was a scene that had to be part of it for the story to make sense. That's how he got it by them. If she doesn't flush those figures down the toilet, he's like, then someone's going to find the paper. Like, that was his argument. That's how he bullshitted his way to get it on screen.
Good for him.
Fucking legend, baby. The shower scene only lasts for 45 seconds in the final cut of the movie. It took 7 days of shooting for Hitchcock to be happy with it.
I'm going to be honest, I could believe it because he did some crafty work to show no nudity.
Yeah, that's a lot of A lot of naked women standing around for 7 days is all I'm going to imagine Hitchcock was into. But him and his team filmed 70 different angles, and they slaved over the scene and they had it edit before he was happy with every single cut in the sequence. And like we mentioned, the Bosco chocolate syrup was used because it showed up better on the black and white film than anything else.
Hershey's, no. Not as good.
Hershey's a little bit too runny. You get the Hershey squirts. Nobody ever said Bosco squirts. Bosco's nice and thick. They're telling me, I don't know what Bosco's, probably like an LA brand or something. Who knows? But yeah, 70 cuts. And I think I read something like they had designed the way that they shoot into the, where the water's coming out. Fountain, I don't know what you want to call that. The shower head.
Shower head, yeah.
The shower head. Yeah, like
the shower fountain.
No, you like the way I explained it.
The shower mouth. The water comes out the shower mouth.
The way they had the camera shoot up into it, like into the shower head without getting the camera wet, was they made a fucking shower head that was like 6 feet wide. That's what you're seeing. And the water is like squirting all around it. That's how big that shower head is. Imagine how fucking comical it would be to walk into somebody's bathroom with a 6 foot wide fucking shower head.
Now they
Who has
have
that
those,
shower?
they have those like rain ones in people's like showers, but those are like what, maybe 2 foot across?
Maybe 2 feet max. Yeah. It's fucking 6 feet. I need a bidet that's fucking 6 feet wide when I'm sitting on the toilet.
That's a lot of ass.
But yeah, that's the shower scene. Chef's kiss there. Norman discovers the murder apparently committed by his mother and meticulously cleans the scene. He wraps Marion's body in the shower curtain, gathers her belongings, including the newspaper-wrapped money, and sinks her car in a nearby swamp.
Mop up the blood, Norman. That's all you're good for. Clean up Mommy's mess. Your father would be so disappointed in you, Normie. She is on his ass, man.
She's in his head, brother. She rents space there.
She goes back to the house, and this motherfucker says, "Oh God, mother, blood. Sees her like covered in blood. That's great."
But yeah, did you notice Norman getting to the passenger side door? This happens a lot in this movie. Always irked me watching it for the past 20 years. People will exit out of the passenger side door in this movie at like an alarming rate. I have no idea why. Norman does it here, I think, to avoid getting wet, to get out of the rain, or maybe because it's closer to the door. But later on, Arbogast does the same thing for no fucking reason. I remember Googling this like 10 years ago. I was like, why is everyone getting out of the passenger side door in the car?
They probably wanted to do it in like one take and not have to like interrupt the shot. If you were to come to the driver's side, the camera would have to like fucking pull back.
I think the most quote-unquote logical answer I found online back then was that back in the day, it was more because you had like the seats, like the one long seat, right?
The bench seats, yeah.
So instead of getting out on the driver's side door, if you were parked beside of a road, you always got out on the passenger side. So you open the door, somebody could hit your car or some shit, or hit your door.
Hey, but that makes sense.
Because I'm always like, checking my mirror to make sure nobody's coming when I open the door if I'm parked like that. But yeah, it's one of those things. You've seen this movie too many times. This kind of shit you notice. Well, how'd you guys feel about him tossing that money, man?
I mean, it sucks, but he didn't fucking know any better.
You think he's making a point here?
No, he didn't know about that money. Oh, you're talking about Hitchcock.
Yeah. This is not a crime of anything other than passion.
Yeah, that was clearly stated with that.
Normally don't give a fuck about the money. He's about the panties.
With how that newspaper was rolled up, you wouldn't have known that was inside the newspaper.
Meticulously thick.
Although $40,000 is pretty damn thick.
Yeah. And it was like brand new bills. And some bitches was not bending at all. Did you guys know this was a swamp when you watched it?
No, I didn't know what I was looking at.
It's fucking California. It should have been like a tar pit.
I always assumed it was a tar pit until I started doing notes. And I'm like, it says swamp everywhere I look.
Now that I look at it, it's more like quicksand than anything.
I thought it was a tar pit too. But when the roof of the car goes in the water, like the water bubbles come up.
Yeah,
and it was too thin to be tar.
It's not viscous enough. I do love how it like freezes for a second before it goes under. He like pauses. Oh shit! And him eating the candy corn. There's just so many cool character touches here.
God, I love candy corn.
He's like a fucking little bird just eating that candy corn all the time.
Candy corn or candy pumpkins?
Oh, you gotta get the autumn. It's called the autumn mix. It's got both.
Yeah, you gotta get the autumn mix. Yeah, get a little bit of both.
Don't fuck around. Don't fuck with me when it comes to candy corn.
I'm kind of leaning towards the pumpkins.
I got all of it, brother. I mean, the pumpkins are
kinda
better.
leaning towards
Yes,
the
the
pumpkins.
pumpkins are better. But
Do
still,
they taste any different though?
Oh yeah, all the mix.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
different mold.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
much more orange food coloring.
They
Orange sugar.
they have they're like buttercream or some shit is like the flavor. That shit is so fucking good.
That shit's got to be so bad for you, man.
Oh.
There's no way. Nothing in that thing occurs naturally in the human world. There's no way.
Does little man like fucking candy corn?
Oh man, he'll junk all them day. He don't care.
Really?
1 week later, private investigator Arbogast, who is played by Mr. Martin Balsam. Sorry, I had to go double check that name there. Arbogast visits Sam's hardware store where he meets Sam and Marion's sister, Lila, played by Miss Vera Miles. Investigating the theft, Arbogast traces Marion to the Bates Motel. He catches Norman in several lies and spots Mother's silhouette in a window. When he returns to question her, he's murdered on the house's staircase.
Him falling down those fucking steps. Just
Fantastic,
stepping backwards the entire time and then falling off the last step, and then Mother pounces on him and starts fucking jabbing his ass.
That practical effect, man, it's
Oh,
great.
I love, and the camera's like following him down when he's going down the steps in one smooth shot. Yeah, I love that. It's fucking great. Like, it looked kind of goofy, but at the same time, it was very well shot. You really can't
That's one of the
state.
first of its kind.
You really can't put in perspective how well this movie looked or how good this movie looked. It really surprised me for like a 60s movie.
I did a little research on Mr. Martin Balsam, and he was in, to start off, 12 Angry Men classic, but it was also in a
number one.
spoof film there you go, that I've never seen before called The Silence of the Hams.
Oh shit! This was like a post Silence of the Lambs.
Yes, it was made in the 90s, starring Billy Zane, who plays a character named Joe D. Foster. It was you can look it up. It was a wild movie.
Oh, it makes me fucking nauseous. You watch this?
No. I just kind of saw it and I read about it and I was like, what in the hell is this?
What the fuck were y'all doing in the 90s?
Billy Zane is literally wearing a shirt that says Joe D. Foster on it.
Yes.
It's weird.
Yeah, Mr. Martin Balsam also won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for 1,000 Clowns, a movie from 1965. Again, just more credibility to the actors here. They're all fucking fantastic. And Lila Crane is played by Vera Miles. She has a long history with Mr. Hitchcock. There's apparently been a lot of rumors about the two, if you know what I'm saying. I think he was a little obsessed with her.
They be fucking.
I don't know about that, but I think he liked her a lot. She was in John Ford's Western films The Searchers, shout out John Wayne from 1956, and The Man Who Shot Liberty Vance from 1962. Of course, she was in Psycho, and she was in, spoiler alert, Richard Franklin's sequel, Psycho 2.
Oh.
From 1983, 23 years later.
Not in the third one, though. I wonder
And
what
she
happened.
is alive to this day. Shout out Mrs. Miles. She's like
the
98 years
I think
old.
she's like the only remaining person that's alive from the cast.
Yeah. She's still there. She's still kicking. Probably still
She's still
hot.
doing Horrorcons.
Probably hot for a 100-year-old lady. Yeah.
Go to the Horrorcon. Meet somebody for the Western Psycho.
Come sit in Joy's lap when we do an episode and just see how
Hey,
that
we'll
goes.
do that.
But yeah, that practical effect you're talking about with Arbogast going down the stairs, apparently it's the actor is stationary, waving his arms, and there's a dolly shot down the stairs. Is how that's set up. Hitchcock invented so many techniques back in the day. Like, have you ever seen the Vertigo shot where he zooms in? I think he pushes the camera while he's zooming in. It's like a very specific thing. I can't really explain it. You'd have to see it.
It's kind of the same shot, isn't it? Similar.
It's similar, different, same kind of concept, but it's just crazy that this dude is at this point in his career. He's 30 years in, pretty much at the tail end, still coming up with new ways to do shit like this. Worried about Arbogast's disappearance, Sam and Lila visit Sheriff Chambers. It reveals that Norman's mother died 10 years ago in a murder-suicide with her lover. The couple poses as husband and wife to investigate the motel. Sam distracts Norman while Lila searches the house, finding a perfectly preserved Victorian bedroom and Norman's childish room.
with a giant human-shaped like
The indentation
cavity,
of the
cavity
yeah.
in it. Yeah, showing
Creepy
you that
shit,
something has
man.
been laying there for a long time.
What could it be? I love the sheriff too. Another great fucking voice. Like I feel like the voice cat. Just the voices of everybody in this movie are just fucking great. Norman's mother has been dead for 10 years.
This is the guy who says Arbogast. Really weird.
Arbogast. Yeah. I think this is the point too when Sam is engaging with Norman, where he's talking about $40,000. I just love the fucking line reading. If you ever watch that scene again, just listen to his dialogue. I don't know what accent it is, but it's fantastic. When Norman realizes their deception, he knocks Sam unconscious and rushes to the house. Lila hides in the cellar, where she discovers mother's preserved corpse. Norman appears in his mother's dress and wig, wielding a knife, but Sam arrives in time to overpower him.
This motherfucker.
Big reveal, motherfuckers.
When he comes through that.
Yeah,
That
he's like a different
door.
person, man.
Holy shit, he was so scary.
It's not even Anthony Perkins anymore.
Yeah, like by the look on the face, you can tell that he's got
starts,
some
like,
sort of
wigging
like
out,
split
too.
personality or some shit.
I just said wigging out. He's wearing a wig, but he starts like
It's pretty good.
convulsing, kind of his face like half strokes when he's getting like manhandled by Sam.
Manhandled.
He manhandles that son of a bitch.
By Burly
And her
Man Sam.
smacking the light. And you get the fantastic. So you knew this was coming, Joy? This was your first watch? You knew this was coming?
I didn't know it was coming like this, but I had seen the
remake.
The
Vince
remains of his mom and then him in a wig.
Okay.
But yeah,
So some
like we
steals
was
or
talking about
something.
earlier how good I was inferring about how good the actual like corpse of his mom looked in terms of like the actual makeup.
Oh, you mean the
and shit.
process? I got.
Yeah,
Oh, he's talking
yeah.
about like how well Norman had preserved it because he's fucking stuffing her
his
ass.
taxidermy bullshit, but it looked so good. Like it looks great.
Nice and creepy.
I read a note that said this story was taken from the Ed Gein story.
Yeah, I think Robert Bloch based the character of Norman Bates on Ed Gein, from what I understand. Because
Ed
his
Gein,
whole
man.
Yeah, the whole idea, I guess, was that he was a corpse robber who had like the mommy issues, or I'm sorry, a grave robber, and he would like create women's clothing out of skin and wear them around his house. So
Who would have known that a real? I guess he really wasn't a serial killer. He only killed one person, I believe.
Yeah, he's just a weird fucking dude.
Just like that weird dude who like would influence cinema for the next 100 years.
Yeah, because he gets attributed to the whole Texas Chainsaw franchise. Like it's
Silence of the Lambs.
It's just that idea, like, what was it? I guess this happened in the 50s, right? Like, you wake up one morning and the fucking newspaper says, we just found this fucking guy in Wisconsin who has, like, a belt of nipples, and he's, like, making a suit out of a people, dressing like a woman,
It's wild.
digging up his mom, and, like, what? This is fucking insane, yeah. That's what just happened over there on the old dairy farm up the road.
Right next to the cheese curds.
All right, let's get to this finale here. At the courthouse, a psychiatrist explains Norman's psychosis. After killing his mother and her lover out of jealousy, Norman stole and preserved her corpse, developing a split personality to cope with his own guilt. He would become mother to preserve her memory, and this jealous personality would kill women Norman found attractive. Film ends with Norman fully absorbed into the mother personality, motionless in his cell, as mother's voice declares, she wouldn't even harm a fly, while Marion's car is pulled from the swamp.
Now, how'd you guys feel about this whole exposition dump?
I've always kind of laughed it off because it's obviously it's pointed at an audience in 1960. Like now, of course, all of us know how this shit kind of works by now, you know? But I think for the time it makes sense because a lot of these people probably had no fucking idea like how the psychology of a person can make them do a thing like this. And this kind of gives you a reasonable explanation.
Mental health was not a point of emphasis in the 60s.
Exactly.
It definitely, to me, it definitely felt tacked on. I think I actually read that, like, either the studio, the producers, or somebody said, hey, this could be confusing for a good number of the audience. We got to put this shit in here to alleviate that. Nobody wants to leave confused about what they saw.
People like Resolution Man.
Yeah.
I did see that actor Simon Oakland, who plays a psychiatrist, nailed that monologue on the first take.
Whoa.
To which Mr. Hitchcock said, "Thank you, sir. You have saved my film."
That's a lot of dialogue to remember.
Yeah, this dude's like, he's so on point when you watch this movie. Like, he seems like he's a real fucking doctor, like giving a speech. Just he has so much conviction in what he's saying, man. I love it. He's another great fucking actor.
Somebody asked him, they're like, "Oh, so Norman killed Marion?" Not exactly.
Not exactly. The mother. God, fucking. I could listen to this. I could listen to anybody in this fucking thing talk all day. But yeah, boys, that there's Psycho. Got any final thoughts before we move out of this plot recap?
She wouldn't even harm a fly. Yeah, the ending scene right there where they're pulling the I guess it was a Chevy, right? Pulling it out of the swamp. That looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, and they got like, I don't know if you noticed, like the faces superimposed too.
The skull or whatever.
Yeah, there's the skull inside of Norman's face, and if you look at the way that the chain is positioned, it's the superimposed shot of 3 different images. It's the 2 of them together, then there's the chain like coming out of Norman's heart, like they're all chained together. You know, good shit.
Pretty awesome.
All right, boys, with that done, a piece of memorabilia you're taking home from the Bates Motel. Hootie, you can't pick something from the Vince Vaughn version either. Go ahead and set that ground rule right now. Doesn't he jerk off at one point in that movie?
Chris, I was a child watching that movie. I know what's going on.
That's where you learn how to jerk off.
I want some of Vince Vaughn's DNA that he left on me.
Vince Vaughn taught him how to jack off in puberty.
I'm pretty sure he beats off in that one.
I don't remember that, but I don't want to rewatch it and find out, so I'm just going to go with YouTube.
You sending me to Jamie Lee Curtis on YouTube, I'm sending you to Vince Vaughn.
I am not putting that in my YouTube algorithm.
So I guess Vera Farmiga becomes this corpse, right?
Yeah, so if you watch that AMC, I can't remember who originally broadcast it, but yeah, Bates Motel show from a few years back. Vera Farmiga is mother, and was it Freddie Highmore plays a young Norma Bates. It's
Did
like
they call her
series.
Norma in this or not?
They the sheriff may have. Yeah, I think the sheriff's wife refers to her as Norma Bates.
Okay.
Is that show any good?
It's pretty decent.
The guy from The Good Doctor's in that fucking thing. I can't watch that shit.
That's all I think about when I see that dude is The Good Doctor.
I don't know anything, but I'm a doctor. Oh, please.
It was probably a season too long, but it was cool because I mean you get to see the fucking set. Like you're in the house all the time, and it's cool to be in that environment. It probably had 2 or 3 plot lines it could have done without though. Okay. But Norma is great, and Norman is pretty good.
Well,
memorabilia, boys.
For memorabilia, I'm going to avoid the one thing I think you two might grab. And I'm going to go with that 6-foot shower head. Put that in my bathroom, have guests come over, and like, what the fuck is that? That is from 1960 Psycho.
You can take a shower in 20 seconds at my house.
Boom. Blast it.
Is that a fucking shower? Is that a shower head or a pressure washer? You're out there fucking stripping a Camaro.
Hemorrhoids coming right off of that bad boy.
He'll fucking sandblaster.
All right, Joy, what are you taking?
Let me get a taste of some of that Miss Bates mummy jerky. You know she's been dry aged to perfection, and has the flavor in all the right places. If you know what I mean. You
dirty, rotten scoundrel.
Let me get that corpse, baby, corpse bride.
I'm keep it simple. I'm gonna keep it sentimental. I want the Bates Motel registry. And so they had that just set up like by my front door. No one's in. I mean, of course, like a toddler would probably draw on it and fuck it all up. But the registry would be cool. Just to have Marion's fake name in there. I think she signs her name as Marion Samuels. So
nobody took
sentimental here.
The old lady outfit. I figured that'd be somebody's.
Oh, you wanted the damn wig? What the fuck?
Well, I just figured it's kind of iconic.
That's what Norman wanted.
I figured one of us was going to cross dress.
That cheap wig.
Him, RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm every woman.
Dun, 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 dun.
Much on candy corn.
All right, boys. Professors, get out your grade books. Hand down your letter grades here for Mr. Hitchcock's Psycho. Mr. Hootie, what did you think about this one?
1960 Psycho is one of the few films that you can bring up to anyone at any age, and they probably know what you're talking about. Maybe not a child, but Whether or not they like it or not could be a different story. I remember renting the series on VHS as a kid and watching 1 through 4 back to back to back to back, which made the franchise unappealing to me, and then the remake just furthered that opinion. However, watching this film now as an adult, it had a completely different feel to me. I haven't watched the original Psycho since I was probably in middle school, just a film I never revisited, even with all the critic acclaim. This was a great rewatch and a truly brilliant film. From the directing to the acting to the story, greatness across the board. There's not much more to say. I give Psycho an A.
All right, Mr. Nasty, Dr. Nasty, the wigged one himself. What do you think?
How many times in the history of the world has someone's first attempt at something new resulted in a masterpiece? Because that's exactly what Sir Alfred Hitchcock did with his first foray into horror with 1960's Psycho. Considered by many to be the greatest single piece of horror cinema ever conceived, Psycho was integral to the birth of the slasher genre that's brought us so many of our favorite horror icons, and continues as a lasting influence on horror as a whole. Hitchcock pushed the envelope, created the foundation for what future franchises would build onto this day. With gorgeous creative cinematography, a pair of interwoven stories that engage the audience, tension and suspense of the highest order, twists that would leave M. Night Shyamalan bricked up, a performance by Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates that is nothing short of sensational. Psycho stands the test of time even 64 years later. Going into the movie as a first-time viewer, even knowing the cinematic reveal, or climactic reveal, for years, I thoroughly enjoyed what I saw, but even more so what I heard. I don't think I've ever seen a horror movie where the score is so essential to the tone and atmosphere as I have with possibly Hitchcock's most well-known and revered film. And that reverence is due in large part to the work of composer Bernard Herrmann. It's not often we get a chance to discuss groundbreaking landmark cinema on this channel, but it's always a treat when we do. 1960s Psycho grades out with an A. I feel like this is like we're all just going to be fucking sucking
baby.
and jerking this shit to the bone.
Yeah, it's all you really can do. So
Hitchcock
all
circle
right.
jerk.
Hitchcock, more like big cock. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Psycho isn't just a movie. It is the movie that created modern horror. It's got a few wrinkles, of course, but that's like finding a scratch on the Mona Lisa. That doesn't make it any less of a masterpiece, and it deserves its spot in the pantheon of greatest films ever made, regardless of genre. It is literally impossible to shine more light on this one, but I'll crank the lumens on 4 little bits, just because 4 is my favorite number. Number 1, the shower scene. Even if you've never seen this movie, you know the scene. Herman's screeching violins, 78 camera setups, 52 cuts. Add that together, you get pure cinematic perfection. Plus, you're killing off your main star halfway through. In 1960, that's got to be some insane shit to conceive of and pull off. Great work, Mr. Hitchcock. Number 2, Anthony Perkins is God tier. As Norman Bates is a template for every creepy but charming villain we've ever seen since. The slight smile, the nervous hands, the way he nibbles on the candy corn while talking about taxidermy. Chef's kiss. Number 3, the score. Of course, Joy alluded to it there. Mr. Herrmann said, "What if violins, but terrifying," and created the most iconic horror soundtrack ever. The main theme lives rent-free in everyone's head. Finally, number 4, the house. The Bates Motel and that looming Victorian mansion are characters themselves. The house has more presence than most modern horror movie villains. For all that, Mr. Hitchcock gets a big old fat, red, juicy A+++. Top 4 all time for me right here, boys.
top 4 all-time
4.
movies?
So this one's number 4?
This is, no, I wouldn't say 4.
It has to be
It's
number
interchangeable. That's
Motherfucker,
why the
you
Mount
just said
Rushmore.
top 4. That's the weirdest shit ever.
Top 4
That is a
movies?
weird-
That's like saying
Yeah,
top
but say
7
top
or
5.
something.
It depends on what year we're talking about here. What kind of a mood am I in? How old am I at the time? If I'm 18, my favorite movie of all time is Fight Club. Now I don't have to rethink it, maybe. Anywho,
I
all
want to
that said.
destroy something beautiful.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about Morbius, right?
Yeah. It's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time.
Talk about a vampire.
Right.
That's the
All right,
vampire.
boys. Put the books away, Mr. Hitchcock. Rest in peace, everyone other than apparently Vera Miles. Rest in peace. We appreciate your contribution to the community. I am looking forward to the next entry in this franchise. Let's recap our audience score guesses from Rotten Tomatoes, shall we, boys? This is my pick, so I did not get the option to guess here. Joey said this would be at an 80%. Fucking idiot. Hootie said a 92%. The actual audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is a 95%.
Good God.
95.
For Psycho.
Wow.
Hell yeah, man. I knew it would be this high. I thought it was gonna be more like 98 personally, but
Ever since I was a child, Leviathan was my favorite movie. They came out with a sequel.
damn right.
Let's put on Leviathan 2, guys.
Looks like, because we're in the World Series, boys, I hit that ball right on the screws.
Right out of the park. Yeah.
Oh,
Otani'd
shit.
that
Game
bad.
4 tonight. They're about to get swept.
Yeah, since we're within 5 points in our guess there, we get to choose what we watch next. So, Mr. Hootie, without further ado, take the wheel, sir.
Well, I feel like I'm the one on the show who always tries to come up with the creature features, the fun play around horror films.
Oh, you're
like
the fun dad.
Leviathan.
That's what
You're
you're
the
telling
fun guy.
Exactly.
You're the
I'm the
fun
cool
uncle.
dad. It's always
I'm
nice
the
to say
dad
the
making
cool
you
dad.
do your homework.
Exactly. And with that, I believe this might be our first Stephen King film, at least that I can think of, that we've covered.
A miss.
This could
And
go
that's
one of
gonna-
three ways.
Oh, we did do The Mist. Yes. Anyway, second one that we're going to cover,
Anyway,
and
don't
that-
edit that.
and that is Pet Cemetery.
Ooh, snap. You talking about the OG.
Second one. Please be the
89?
second one.
Talking
Gus, I
about,
wanna
don't
see
be
what
playing on
Gus-
that
Gus
road.
has got going on.
You'll be playing on that damn road, Gage.
Watch out for that road now.
You're going to make me watch some kid stuff. You know how I feel about the kid stuff.
Well,
Don't go down
sorry,
there after
bud.
dark. Down there is where they tend to congregate.
I don't know. When
Okay.
your son going to get fucked up by that truck.
Sometimes daddy better.
Sometimes that is
Yikes,
better.
yikes, yikes.
If it didn't have Herb Munson in this film, it would not be as good.
That fucking
No
little
doubts.
kid is so creepy, man. Oh,
Talking about Gage. It's the kid
It's
from
such an-
Kindergarten
so
Cop.
creepy.
It's such an
Boys
effective
have
movie.
a penis. Girls have a
Girls
vagina.
have a vagina. Yeah, that's right. That wasn't in Pet Cemetery, but that's in Kindergarten
I
Cop.
was like, wait a minute, is it in Pet Cemetery?
Wait a second. Do boys have penises?
It's a different movie I remember.
All right, boys. Let me know if you got eyes on this here trailer.
I got eyes. I got eyes.
All right, folks,
Vespers
gonna
that
watch.
jingle, jingle, jingle.
We're gonna watch this here trailer on YouTube for Pet Cemetery from 1989. If you hop on our YouTube channel, you can watch along with us. Otherwise, we will see you here in a few. Let's go. All right, boys, that was a trailer. Let's go play this meter game of ours here. Take a guess at that audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Try to get within 5. Otherwise, we are going to be sent to God knows what, thanks to the internet.
I'm going to go to 65.
I'm going to say a 55.
Gee,
Damn.
it's not that bad.
I'm trying to play the long
Motherfucker
con
spawned
here,
like
buddy.
2 or 3
I'm trying to get that
sequels.
Psycho 2, dog. Let's fucking go.
This thing just birthed a new film with David Duchovny called Pet Cemetery Revolution or some shit.
What the
Oh,
hell
Pet
is David
Cemetery
Duchovny
and
doing?
fucking UFO style.
What happened to Duchovny? Is his shit just fell off that hard?
He had a damn rat. Didn't he stick a rat up his ass? No, that was
That was Richard Gere.
That was a fake story of Richard Gere.
That was a
David
fake
Duchovny
story, bitch.
did
Julia Roberts shoved it
Californication
up his ass.
and then went to sex therapy and just kind of like called it
I
a
thought
career.
Californication was a big deal, though.
It was, but that was like his swan song, basically.
All the sex stuff just kind of wiped out his career.
Addicted.
Well, damn. That sucks.
Addicted.
Well, yeah, it looks like we got us a Pet Cemetery to visit, boys.
Wait, what was Hootie's number?
He chose the
I
film.
guess.
He is abstaining.
Yeah, but
as
you
they
can still
say.
guess.
Hootie's going to wait till
I
he's
want to see how
39 years old
honest
to
he is,
guess for the
because
first time at a Rotten
If he
Tomatoes.
guesses right, then you know he looked this shit up.
I mean, I didn't. I just remember this movie being very. I remember this film being very effective to me when
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
a
it's very
kid.
beloved in terms
It was
of
scary
like
as shit.
Stephen King horror stuff.
I'm going to say 70
Yeah,
for an audience score.
If it's anything like less than a 60, I would be surprised.
I think a lot of people point to this as one of his best books as well. I've never read the book, but from what I understand, it's like one of his top 3.
One of his written road in the book.
You're right, old. Actually had an ending for this one, I think, that kind of works. So, if I remember correctly. Alrighty, folks. Thank you for listening. Check out horriblefilmschool.com and you'll find links to all the goods. You got episodes, our social channels, our merch store. Check it all out. You can support us for free and ad nauseum with 3 simple steps. Rate, review, and subscribe. If you're feeling generous, send us some cheap wigs. What do we say about that, boys? Yeah? Cheap wigs?
Yeah,
I can
we're
go for
bald,
it.
mean you can make use out of them.
Oh, yeah.
Hootie's on his way.
He's working on it. He's Vince Vaughn in it.
I'm trying not to, but I am working at it.
And while I'm at it, I'm going to send my support to women spending cold nights in the fruit cellar. Shake off them mothballs and get your swerve on, girl.
As always, if you're hearing our voices, spread the love, spread the campaign of the Horrible Film School, and I get to go figure out and relive the lifelong lesson that sometimes dead is better. And I'm out.
Thanks for all the likes, the subs, the listens, the follows, the downloads. We really appreciate you guys and gals' support. Well, your time and attention. Be sure to join us next time. We pay a little visit down to the old pet cemetery in 1989's Pet Cemetery. Class dismissed.